Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Dear panelists, dear audience, my name is Tawfiq Alawi Sami. I am a doctoral student in Ibn Tawfiq and a teacher of English in class préparatoire Grandes Écoles, CPG Morocco in Tétouan. So we're delighted, in fact, to present our study entitled Prospects of Internationalizing Higher Education in Morocco, a Digital Citizenship Perspective. So the plan that we will present our study following this plan. First, we are going to have an introduction, a literature review, methodology, results and discussion, and then we finish with conclusion. So first of all, Morocco has gone through many educational reforms at the level of higher education, just to keep up with the educational systems worldwide. So this is why, and as far as we have reached the third decade, let's say, of the third millennium, there needs to be more initiatives to update the subjects being taught at the level of higher education in Morocco. So this is why our aim is to consider teaching the concept of digital citizenship in Moroccan universities for two reasons, in fact. The first one is that students can explore, identify, and know more about global issues. And the second thing, raise their awareness towards their more experience, some of the technological issues they face during their digital experiences. In this regard, we consider three research questions. The first one, how can Moroccan universities collaborate and communicate effectively with their peers worldwide? Number two, how can digital literacy, or let's say digital fluency, help university students to be aware of the significance of social change? And number three, how can digital citizenship bridge the digital divide between university professors and university students in Morocco? So, in fact, we have chosen 5 scholarly views on digital citizenship. The first one is Mosberger in 2008, who talked about social inequality in online communities. The second one, Simsek and Simsek 2013, who introduced new forms of literacy. Number 3, we have Choi. This is a PhD dissertation, by the way, entitled Measuring the Scale of Digital Citizenship. Then we have in 2019, Ribble and Park, who were able to develop a workable model for the incorporation of digital citizenship in schools. And finally, Rogers Whitehead in 2019, who was able to provide us with practical teaching, digital citizenship teaching strategies and practices. So our methodology, in fact, is a quantitative study, okay? And we have conducted our study in public and private universities in Morocco. And of course, the respondents are university professors and university students of English departments in Morocco. And we have chosen the convenient sampling based on the respondents' willingness and availability. So we can summarize, let's say, our results in 6 main statements. So the first one, we have asked our respondents if digital citizenship is a prerequisite in higher education in Morocco. As you can see, we have like 47.4% of the respondents agreed with this statement, and 26.3% strongly agreed, while only 5.3% disagreed. The second statement, we have asked them if digital citizenship raises awareness towards global issues. So 42.1% agreed with this statement, and 36.8% strongly agreed, while only 5.3% strongly disagreed. The third statement is that if digital citizenship bridges the digital divide between university professors and university students, of course, 42.1% agreed with the statement, and 36.8% strongly agreed, and only 21.1% were neutral. We have also asked them if digital citizenship helps digitize TEFL, TEFL classrooms. TEFL, this is the abbreviation of teaching English as a foreign language. So more than half of the respondents agreed with this statement, 52.6%, 26.3% strongly agreed, while only 5.3% disagreed. Based on that, we have found that the respondents have said that digital citizenship can solve some of the problems at the level of higher education in Morocco. We can find 40% of the respondents stated that it solves problems of digital literacy, 25% each for digital access and students' commitment. I guess this is maybe based on their experience during the COVID pandemic, and less than 5% said that it solves financial issues. And finally, the final results, we have found that there are two aspects where we can internationalize higher education in Morocco. 75% stated it boosts professional development, and 25% stated that it helps more in the integration of technology in our universities. So finally, we can summarize our presentation into three main statements. So we have a call that we need to address digital citizenship in higher education in Morocco as an aspect of internationalizing our educational systems in Morocco. So the first one is we need to add digital communication and collaboration to enhance collaboration on research between institutions. Number two, we create more discussion about digital literacy or digital fluency to raise awareness, because there is a need for social change. And finally, we need to encourage university students and university professors to work on more possibilities to bridge the digital divide. Thank you for being all ears. Here we've got the list of references, and we've got here the contact emails. Thank you very much. Sure.
Our third topic will be about the importance of e-learning, internationalizing higher education, university student perceptions. The presentation is prepared by Fadli Sara, Latifa Adabi, and Yumi Abishtar. Fadli Sara is a middle school teacher of English and a doctoral student at the Communication, Education, Digital Usage, and Creativity Laboratory, CIVOC, in Mohammed First University in Jeddah. And she's also an old friend of mine. Yeah. I haven't seen her for 11 years, 11 or 20 years. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Farid. So good morning to all of you. As I said, my name is Fadli Sara. I came from Jeddah, from University Mohammed I, and I'm a second-year doctoral student at the CIVOC Laboratory. So the title of my paper is The Importance of E-Learning in Internationalizing Higher Education, University Students' Perception. And it is a joint paper along with Professor or Dr. Agabi Latifa, supervised by Professor Mudinir Bishbar. So I'm going to shed light on some literature review principles, some materials and methods followed, the results and discussion of the results, of course, with an introduction and a conclusion. So, like you all know, nowadays education is witnessing colossal changes due to globalization and technological evolution. I mean, universities all over the world are welcoming students from all the four corners of the globe. The higher education system is a multicultural one, which is open also to the new modes of learning, blended learning, or online education. So, for that, the issue of internationalizing education is becoming largely present nowadays. And with advancement in technology, another concept has emerged, which is that of digital internationalization. So the overall aim of internationalization actually is promoting the quality of learning through making knowledge global, universal, and international. Besides, it is not only about welcoming students or welcoming international students to host universities, but it is also about internationalizing the course content and the curriculum. The advancement in technology and online learning has actually influenced the concept of internationalization. Today, the debate, as I said, is about the role of digital learning in internationalizing education. And this advancement in technology has pushed actually universities to use all these technologies by making courses available in what we call the learning management systems or in the virtual learning environment in general. And there are multiple tools that are actually used to collaborate and to communicate with each other between peers and between professors and students. Like I said, through collaborative tools such as forum discussions and chat sections, etc. So the current article actually aims at two things. The first one is studying the learners' perceptions and experiences in relation to internationalizing education, as well as studying the role of teachers and educators in promoting internationalization through online learning. It aims also at exploring the role of digital tools inside the platform in promoting internationalization. For that, we have asked actually two research questions. The first one is, how do universities perceive the role of the university in internationalizing education through their experience? And the second question is, how do university students perceive the role of digital platforms in promoting internationalized education? For that, we have assumed that university educational system in the host country supports internationalized education. And second hypothesis is that the use of digital platforms in higher education helps promoting internationalizing education. So speaking of distance learning, actually the importance of e-learning nowadays is embodied in the increase of the number of existing e-courses. I mean, these platforms are meant to help both domestic and international learners to socialize, exchange knowledge, develop intercultural competencies, and to collaborate and to take into consideration the cultural diversity inside the host university. So CAG 2017 in this regard has in fact stated multiple factors that the teachers or the institutions should take into account while using online learning with international students. Among these factors, we state the students' own culture and the host culture as well. Also, the students' experience actually of online learning and teachers' experience with international students and with also teaching online. So this variety inside the university is what makes actually university special. I mean, this is what puts the instructors in a position to embrace this diversity and to take it into account in their teaching and course designing. Hence, I may state here the multicultural pedagogy framework, which proves to be important in this regard. So adopting this multicultural pedagogy in teaching would allow learners to be more engaged in society and successful in the global markets. It develops as well students' communicative skills, interpersonal skills, and community and marketplace engagement. So generally, this framework suggests that teachers should consider both integrating culture aspects in their content, constructs a culturally based knowledge, help students reduce prejudices, foster the pedagogical equity, in addition to empowering, of course, the school culture. So when speaking about e-learning, multicultural education is also of a paramount importance. Here we're speaking about online multicultural pedagogy, which implies that the instructor should design the content that respects this framework. So before the beginning of the online course, I mean, the teacher should take into consideration the knowledge of the subject matter and the knowledge of the instructional design. And after the beginning of the course, the teacher should take into account the teacher-student interaction and the course management system inside the platform. So we conducted actually a mixed study, which is quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative through an online survey via Google Form. We had our targeted population are 33 students, 23 females and 10 males. And for the qualitative method, we opted for interviews. We have interviewed five students following their studies abroad. For the sampling method, we have resorted to the convenience sampling method, as it allows us to choose the population which is easily accessible to us and who are convenient to our research. So as I said, the participants belong to different universities around the world, like in France, US, Canada, and other countries. The questionnaire actually consisted of 4 different parts. The first one related questions related to the demographic information, students' perceptions regarding the internationalization of education, students' perceptions regarding the digital internationalization, and some general perceptions. And for the qualitative part of the study, the interviewees were asked questions like related to the opportunities that their university offered to internationalize education, the role of the courses or the curriculum in this regard, as well as the role of e-learning in supporting internationalizing education. So moving to the results of our study, when asked about the meaning of internationalization according to their background knowledge, the majority actually have selected that it means studying in exchange programs. I mean, 51.5% see that it has to do with the integration of students in international universities, and 42.4% see that internationalization means like having courses with international focus. Furthermore, students were asked if universities provide like international learners with good opportunities for internationalizing learning. Out of these 33 participants, 9 said yes. They justified their answers by giving examples like scholarships, exchange programs, international student services inside the university, like having extracurricular activities, global education offices, and the varying courses and methodologies and habits. Participants were also asked whether the course and the activities and the curriculum support internationalized education. 12 participants answered by sometimes, and 8 answered by always. Of answers varied between seldom, always, and never respectively. However, all the participants agreed, and that's their university and their classmates has or have supported their international experience in the host country compared to the course content or the curriculum. So in relation to e-learning and digital internationalization, 20 participants said, 20 among the 33 participants in the survey said that they do not use any learning management system in their university. So we have left only 30 participants who are used to integrate the platform and use the LMS platforms in their studies. So only those 30 participants who were required to answer the rest of the questions in the survey related to the role of e-learning. So when asked about the frequency of consulting the platform, answered, 7 out of the 13, answered that they often consult the platform, 4 replied by always, and 2 said sometimes. Furthermore, 9 stated that not all the courses are integrated in the platform, and just 4 participants said that few courses are integrated with international courses are integrated in the platform. So among the activities that they use in the platform, the most chosen options by the participants are consulting resources, submitting assignments, and interacting with teachers, followed by answering quizzes or using video conferences tools, etc. However, only 3 participants expressed that they interact with their teachers and interact with the classmates inside the platform. The participants have also expressed that their perceptions regarding the benefits of using online learning according to 78.6% find that it is beneficial because it allows less time, space, and cost constraints. 57.1% said that it allows easy access to educational resources, and 42.9% stated that it allows more opportunities for interaction and for collaboration with students as well as teachers. In what concerns the challenges that the learners believe are associated with e-learning or using e-learning to internationalize education, they find that online learning actually do not foster interpersonal relationships compared, to face-to-face courses or learning. They see that their teachers do not give too much focus using the platform tools. And other challenges are related actually to the weak use of the platform at the university in general, the lack of student engagement with local students, both domestic and international students, and also the non-alignment of courses with e-learning system. So in addition to the low abilities of using the ICT tools. Speaking of the interviewees, concerning the opportunities that the university offers education, the interviewees have expressed that their host universities offer them chances to be integrated and engaged in the new environment. However, when asked about the role of the curriculum in internationalizing education, 2 participants out of the 5 interviewees have expressed that they have few modules like communication collaboration modules where they are introduced to some extent to cultural diversity aspects, and where they teach them skills like that are essential for succeeding at an international level, let's say. So concerning the questions about e-learning and the role of digital tools in internationalizing education, students, the interviewees have expressed that e-learning offers flexibility and accessibility to allows also interaction among peers and teachers. E-learning, according actually to one of the interviewees, helps learners gain more experience, since the learner, when you're working in a blended format or an online format, the learner can at the same time have a job, do an internship, and follow his studies online. So all in all, the obtained results are partially in line with the assumption that host universities support internationalized education, and that using learning management systems, platforms helps promoting internationalized education. Concerning the first hypothesis, quantitative results have revealed that not all participants have deep understanding of the concept of internationalization. The majority thinks that it means simply studying abroad or participating in exchange program. And on the other hand, minority of participants have referred to the concept in its true actually meaning related to the integration of culture and global aspects in the course content and the construction. So they seem uncertain regarding the role that the university plays in this regard, in internationalizing education. And this is supported by of the host universities in the current study have reduced frequency of courses with international focus. In fact, the frequency of internationalized activities or courses varies from country or to another, or let's say from university to another. But the mostly frequent answers varies between sometimes and often. So even though the course content seems less supportive to internationalization, all the participants have answered positively regarding the role that the university staff and their classmates play in this regard. Okay, so despite the fact that the internationalization aspects are not always present within the courses, within these few courses they have like developed certain widened their knowledge and engaged in the host country or in the host university. So here I may refer to Banks' 1993 concept of content integration, which proves its importance actually in constructing multicultural classroom pedagogy. Moreover, the qualitative results have supported the quantitative ones. The interviewees have expressed that their host universities offer them chances like to be integrated and engaged in their new environment through like cultural events, trips outside the country. And those activities and cultural encounters have formed positive attitudes among both domestic and international. So the qualitative results regarding the curriculum and the support totally the quantitative ones. And there are few courses as well and modules with international focus. And on the other hand, concerning the use of e-learning, the study shows that the students are less engaged in online learning or in digital education. The frequency of consulting the platform seems reduced, and this can be due, maybe due to students' lack of motivation or interest in online learning. It can be also explained by the fact that they may face some challenges while using online platform, like technical issues or organizational matters, etc. Besides, learners actually tend to consult the platform mainly to check on the courses or the provided educational resources, maybe to answer quizzes or interact with their teachers and not their friends. However, the social interaction seems reduced. Let me just quickly like this. Among the suggestions to how universities can enhance international education or international education, yes, through online learning, they suggested offering more online courses, making online courses compulsory maybe to students, designing courses with cross-cultural focus. When asked about the role of e-learning and the digital tools in the internationalizing education, the interviewees seem also to reduce the role of e-learning to simply consulting the platform or the courses. The frequent answer, again, is the one of flexibility and accessibility to course materials, and the interviewees actually do not deny the importance of e-learning. and the digital tools in supporting internationalization, as there are multiple tools inside the platform meant for collaboration and communication. It is just the use which is like reduced and frequency of use which is reduced. So to conclude, and like all studies, I mean, our study have encountered some limitations. And the first one is related to the small size of the participants, which cannot let us, allow us generalized data. The second limitation is related to the impossibility of meeting the interviewees face-to-face. So having a face-to-face maybe interview would have probably given us deeper insights to our results. The last one is the reduced number of platform users. So maybe as researchers in the future, we would for example, just focus on or do a study just focusing on those students who integrate the platform or who have online courses inside the platform. So this is the end of my presentation. These are my references, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Sarah. The next talk will be about promoting inclusivity and diversity in Moroccan higher education, an evaluation of internationalization policies and practices at Mohammed First University. The paper is prepared by Atli Mohammed and Hbushi Huda. Hbushi Huda is a Niakal High School teacher, and she is also a PhD student in communication, education, linguistics, and humanities at Mohammed First University Laboratory, Civil. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Huda, and the floor is yours.
First of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee for organizing this. I'd like to thank the audience. Thank you for attending, and I can't wait to hear all your comments and questions. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, my presentation will be about promoting inclusivity and diversity in Moroccan higher education and evaluation of internationalization policies and practices at Mohammed First University. So here is the outline. We are going to start with introduction, methodology, results, and we are going to finish with a conclusion. So, higher education institutions have witnessed several changes due to the increase in demands of the external environment, including governments, for-profit organizations, students, and of course, in order to meet the missions of higher education institutions, like, for example, producing knowledge, research, and innovation, and the needs of a global knowledge society. In this regard, internationalization was crystallized as an innovative response to these needs and demands. So Morocco, as an African country with its undeniable interest in internationalization, provides a suitable context to examine the implementation of internationalization policies and practices. This study addresses the intercultural dimension of internationalization by evaluating the effective implementation of internationalization practices and policies in terms of promoting inclusion and diversity. So for the research questions, we have the first question is, what are the key initiatives and practices that were implemented by Mohammed First University to promote internationalization? The second question, how do internationalization policies and practices of Mohammed First University impact inclusivity and intercultural communication within the university? Okay, so the Moroccan higher education policies strongly emphasize internationalization as it is considered as a pillar in the strategic vision of the Ministry of Moroccan Higher Education. At the level of the ministry, a Directorate of Cooperation and Partnership was created to promote, strengthen, and monitor, as well as evaluate bilateral and multilateral cooperation program. At the level of higher education institutions, the Moroccan ones, all organizational charts constitute a vice victor, deputy director of external relations and corporations, that even there is no structure dedicated to internationalization within institution, there is still a person who takes care of these aspects. The policy framework of higher education institutions has intended to provide a roadmap for the internationalization and has positioned it as a transformational driver in higher education. However, inclusion and interculturality are overshadowed in internationalization scholarships despite their significance. So for the methodology of the study, so the study is, it's not quantitative, it's qualitative in nature. So let's start with the research design. So the case study is Mohammed First University. For the data gathering, we used manual approach for collecting publicly available data. So the sources of data were policies of Moroccan higher education. And we used the official website of Mohammed First University and the Facebook page of Mohammed First University. For the data analysis, we used content analysis. So let's start with the results. Okay, we are going to answer the first research question. So as you can see in this word map, so we have the words that were highlighted using the content analysis. So we have international. So it's like the bigger word, okay, the one that was highlighted more. International conferences, international projects and collaboration, international projects, programs, and as you can see, there is no intercultural dimension here. So let's start with the policies, the internationalization policies of Moroccan higher education. So we are going to start with the action plan 2017 and 2018. So we are going to delve into the objectives of this policy. So let's start with the first one, collaborating with reputable foreign universities and institutions known for their excellence internationally, solidifying the position of Morocco as a regional pool for higher education and scientific research, attracting more foreign and Arab world countries, and promoting online learning, such as MOOC. 2015 and 2030 contributes to the integration of Morocco in the knowledge society and economy, and strengthen its position among the emerging countries, facilitates the mobility of students and researchers internationally, develops partnerships and international cooperation, and calls for adopting good practices, successful international experiences, and international standards. So for the international practices of Mohammed First University, according to the results, and organized over 20 international conferences for academic mobility. So the university posted and shared several e-brochures and announcements about international scholarships and exchange programs and research projects. And it organizes Erasmus Plus info days. So Erasmus Plus, it's an exchange program, a well-known one. So as you can see in this e-brochures, so we have two international conferences organized and hosted by Mohammed First University. As you can see that there is an international touch in each poster, international speakers using flags. So as you can see on the second poster, we have several flags, okay, that represents the countries that are, yes, co-organized or participate. We have here posters about Erasmus Info Days, about academic mobility. And this one is a fellowship program that was posted by Mohammed First University. Okay, now let's move to international projects. So, and 14 international programs such as Horizon Europe and Project Prima, and it participates in 21st international projects. For international cooperation, Mohammed First University has more than 33 international partners, and it's collaborated with several higher education institutions around the globe. For international reputation, as many higher education institutions around the globe, several posts were dedicated to the university shows its enthusiasm, to reach a global reputation and visibility. Now let's move to the second research question. Internationalization policies and practices of Mohammed First University impacts inclusion and intercultural communication within university. So university attempts to include international students and create a diversified and inclusive learning environments. Examples, we have two events. The first event is the iftar ceremony during Ramadan, held to break the fast, especially in honor of foreign sub-Saharan students. So this event was an occasion to give them awards to the international students. As you can see in the picture, we have the university leader and sub-Saharan students wearing their traditional clothing and stuff. For the second event, initiative to provide aid to international students during Ramadan. So this initiative shows the university commitment to international students. So it was like an act of kindness, especially that we have like providing Ramadan food package to people. It's like a cultural act, a cultural Moroccan act. So it's used to foster inclusion and cultural sensitivity. And for the last aspect, the university organized several conferences and seminars about intercultural issues. As you can see, we have a poster about a conference that was held in the university, Interculturality and Values-Based Education Conference. So as a conclusion, the current shifts in internationalization of higher education discourses have moved from internationalization activities outputs to their outcomes, such as inclusion, diversity, and intercultural competence and learning. So for recommendations for future studies should consider expanding the sample with multiple Moroccan universities and higher education institutions. Future studies should take into account direct observations and maybe interviews with people involved in the internationalization process in order to reflect on their experiences and their reflections. Makers, university leaders, and individuals involved in internationalization process should highlight the outcomes of internationalization practices and strategies by involving non-mobile students and engage them in the process, creating an inclusive environment, adopting internationalization at home, and developing and stuff, because not all the students can like reach the mobile or the academic mobility programs. So we should like engage students at home and engage all the students, including international students. So we have the references, and thank you.
Thank you. Now with our last speaker on the panel, Zweli Fabriza. She is an AFL teacher of English, and she is also a doctorate student at Mohammed First University at Seabrook Laboratory. And she will be talking about international students' perceptions of cultural adaptation and academic curricula, mapping the paths towards inclusiveness in higher education. The paper is prepared both by Zouari Fatim Zara and Ben Khaled Hoshin.
Good morning, everyone. Delighted today to be with you here. I thank you for joining us today. We're going to share the results of the study that we conduct both Bushra national students' perceptions of culture adaptation and academic curricula, mapping the path towards inclusiveness in higher education. So we're going to follow this outline: introduction, the background, and the problem statements, some literature review, the methodology adopted, data analysis, and we conclude by recommendations and limitations of the study. So first, let's discuss the research context. So as many of you may be aware, there has been a significant increase in the number of international students choosing France as their study destination in recent years. This growing trend brings about unique experiences and challenges for these students during their stay in a foreign country. So the main focus of our study is to shed light on the challenges that international students encounter while living abroad. And the first objective of the research is to gain a deep understanding of their perceptions towards cultural adaptation, since it plays a crucial role in the overall, let's say, experience of international students. And by understanding their perspective, we can enhance their cultural and adjustment. So the first specific objective is to identify the specific challenges that international students encounter during their stay abroad. And the second specific objective of the study is to identify the strategies that can be implemented to improve the overall experience of international students in the host nations. So the internationalization of education has led to a rise in the number of international students pursuing their studies outside their home countries. Additionally, France stands out as one of the leading destinations for international students, attracting a significant share of globally mobile students, according to the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development 2023. France currently hosts 9.2% of international students worldwide. However, despite the appeal of studying in France, international students often face numerous obstacles during their process of adaptation. These obstacles can encompass a wide range of challenges that may hinder their successful integration. So understanding the nature of these challenges is crucial in order to develop effective strategies and support mechanisms to enhance the overall experience of international students. And consequently, our study aims to investigate the specific challenges that they encounter while staying in France and identify the strategies that can facilitate their integration and cultural adaptation. So the scope of the study encompasses two aspects: designing policies and initiatives that foster the internationalization of higher education and create culturally sensitive learning environments. And the study also seeks to identify effective initiatives that can enhance the internationalization of higher education. In terms of creating culturally sensitive learning environments, the study will explore strategies that can promote inclusivity, diversity, and cross-cultural understanding within educational settings. So for the relevance of the study, it lies in the potential to inform and guide the development of policies and initiatives that can effectively support this internationalization of higher education. So for our research, we asked two questions. The first one: is there any correlation between the length of stay and students' attitude toward their study abroad experience? And the second question is: does incorporating cultural adaptation into academic curricula foster inclusiveness within universities? So we advanced two hypotheses. The first one: the length of stay in the host country has a positive impact on students' perceptions toward their cultural adaptation. And the second hypothesis is: by incorporating cultural adaptation into academic curricula, higher education institutions would foster inclusiveness and create a more equitable and welcoming learning environment. So for the literature review, we adopted the intercultural sensitivity model in 1986. And for the concepts that are used and discussed within this study are the internationalization, the inclusiveness, the cultural adaptation, and integration. So the intercultural sensitivity model by Bennett, 1986, which is widely recognized framework for understanding individuals' intercultural development, outlines different stages of cultural sensitivity ranging from ethnocentrism to ethno-relativism, and highlights the importance of developing cultural competence for effective cultural interactions. So it starts by the first stage, which is the denial, then the defense, and the minimization, the acceptance. Then we move forward to the adaptation, and we reach the integration stage, which is the most highlighted stage for a successful, let's say, adaptation within host countries. So the internationalization as a concept refers to the process of integrating an international dimension into educational institutions, programs, and initiatives. It involves promoting global awareness, cross-cultural understanding, and international collaboration in higher education setting. It aims also to prepare students for a globalized world and enhance the quality of education through international perspectives and experiences. For the concept of inclusiveness in higher education, it emphasizes creating an environment that values and respects diversity, promoting equal opportunities for all students, and ensuring a sense of belonging and acceptance. An inclusive education system recognizes and addresses diverse needs, backgrounds, and experience of students, of course, fostering a supportive and equitable learning environment. Reach the integration concept, which is related to the successful inclusion and engagement of international students within the host countries' social, academic, and cultural spheres. It involves creating opportunities for international students to interact with local students, participate in extracurricular activities, and become active members of the academic community. Integration here supports the overall well-being and academic success of international students. So let's move to the methodology adopted in this study. Our population is the international students carrying on their higher education studies in France. And for the sampling, we chose a convenient sampling, which is a non-probability sampling. Students are selected based on their accessibility and availability. We chose social media, which is Facebook, Facebook group for Campus France to reach these participants. So for the data gathering and analysis, we adopted for qualitative data analysis, content and thematic analysis. And for quantitative data analysis, we had regression technique, linear regression tests, correlation, and descriptive analysis, of course, focusing on the frequency of occurrences. So here are some of the results of this study. So for the gender, we can notice that the majority, so the participants' demographic and analysis reveal a slightly higher representation of male participants compared to female participants. However, it is important to note that the difference is relatively small and indicating a balanced gender distribution among study participants. Concerning the academic level, the majority of participants were in M2, which means Master Second Year Program. Master 2 is an advanced level of study, typically indicating that participants are at an advanced stage of their academic journey. So in addition to the gender and academic level, there were further demographic factors such as the age, the nationality, and the field of study were also tackled in this report or in this paper. So concerning students' perceptions toward the most challenging aspects of cultural adaptation, the results reveal that cultural norms and customs were perceived as the most challenging aspects by the participants. Language barrier ranked second, and social isolation ranked third in terms of the perceived difficulty. So the findings indicate that the academic differences, despite being acknowledged by approximately 86% of the participants, were perceived as the least challenging aspects according to our sample. So regarding the use of tutoring services and support
by the participants, the majority of participants report not seeking help or tutoring support to overcome the obstacles they encountered in the host country. Only 10.5% of the participants confirmed actively seeking support and tutoring services. Concerning the strategies suggested for successful cultural adaptation, participants suggested some strategies that can be grouped into 6 categories. The first one, cultural awareness and adaptation, personal growth and mental health, language skills, values and identity, support and networking, and the last category, which is academic and career focus. So cultural awareness and adaptation strategies included learning culture and language, respecting local laws and values, and understanding the educational system. The personal growth and mental health strategies involved being mentally prepared, embracing challenges, and acknowledging homesickness as part of the experience. For the language skills that were seen as essential for easy adaptation to the host country's culture. And for the category of identity strategies, it encompassed maintaining personal values, accepting others, and developing an open-minded perspective. For the following category related to support and networking strategies, it included connecting with local friends and using student support services. For the strategies related to academic and career focus, it emphasized on staying focused on personal objectives, avoiding distractions, and building emotional and physical resilience. So despite the inevitable challenges, participants advised against giving up and highlighted the need for adaptability and resilience in all situations. So this figure represents a comprehensive range of strategies proposed by international students to foster greater inclusiveness within higher education institutions. The most frequently mentioned strategy by participants was creating a cultural exchange with local students. This can be achieved through intercultural activities such as cultural events, international students clubs, and peer mentoring. These initiatives facilitate interactions between international and local students, promoting cross-cultural understanding and social integration. Cultural orientation and training, participants suggested that providing cultural orientation programs, intercultural training workshops, and cross-cultural communication courses would facilitate cultural adaptation. And by offering these initiatives, universities can help in necessary skills and knowledge to navigate a new cultural environment. Concerning the mental health support services, the importance of providing mental health support services for international students was emphasized. Universities can address the challenges and stressors faced by international students during the cultural adaptation process by offering some counseling services, workshops, or seminars on mental health and coping strategies, and of course, promoting awareness about available resources to support emotional well-being. Concerning this strategy, I just remember 2 participants who were expressing themselves that they encountered a burnout during their stay abroad, and which was really difficult to overcome alone outside their home countries and far away from their families. So concerning the language support, many participants mentioned the need for let's say, universities to offer more language support, providing language courses, language exchange programs, and conversation partners can enhance international students' language skills and facilitate their engagement within the local community. So let's move to the, let's say, okay, I'll be quicker. So for the impact of the students' length of stay in the host countries and their perceptions toward cultural adaptation, it was tested by linear regression analysis, and it revealed a significant relationship between the 2 variables. So the R-square value, which indicates the proportion of the variance in perceptions toward the cultural adaptation, explained by the length of stay, was determined to be 0.11. And this suggests that approximately 11.2% of the variation in the students' perceptions can be attributed to the length of their stay in the host country. The significance value represented as 0.023 indicates that the relationship between the length of stay and perception towards cultural adaptation is statistically significant, and this suggests that the observed association is unlikely to be due to chance. So the analysis confirmed hypothesis number 1, indicating that there is a significant positive impact of the length of stay on students' perception of cultural adaptation, which suggests that as the duration of their stay in the host country increases, students' perception toward cultural adaptation become more positive. So the first hypothesis is confirmed. Concerning the evidence provided supporting the potential impact of incorporating cultural adaptation into academic curricula, further investigation is required to fully establish the extent to which this fosters inclusiveness and creates a more equitable and welcoming learning environment in education institution. So the second hypothesis is partially confirmed. So here we move directly to the limitations of and the challenges of the study. So one of the limitations of this study is the small sample size. So the findings were based on a limited number of participants, which may, of course, restrict the generalizability of the results to a larger population of international students. And of course, the time constraint, which might have influenced the depth and breadth of the data collection and analysis. This limitation could impact the comprehensiveness of the finding and limit the ability to capture all relevant aspects to international students' experiences. Another limitation of the study is the concentration on a single country, France, which restricts the ability to capture the diverse experiences and challenges faced by international students in different host countries. Of course, the data gathered through social media would be somehow subjective in nature, as it relies on self-reported perceptions and experiences, which could introduce bias or limit the objectivity of the analysis. So there should be more efforts made to ensure data reliability on this side. So as a conclusion, let's say, or for the recommendation, I mean, future research should consider employing probability sampling techniques to obtain more representative sampling of international students. And diverse universities and locations here are recommended to expand the scope of future studies to include broader range of universities and countries to allow more diverse representation. I chose this quotation as a conclusion. So in a conclusion, the study sheds light on international students' perceptions toward their study abroad experience and provides valuable insight into strategies that can enhance their cultural adaptation and integration. As Mike Armingers aptly stated, inclusive education is essential because through extending our imaginations into another person's world whose experience we may not share, we learn to empathize and connect. Those are skills worth teaching to young people. So by prioritizing inclusivity and actively nurturing a welcoming environment, we can equip young people with the skills of empathy, connection, and cultural understanding, which will not only benefit international students, but also contribute to the overall educational experience and promote an interconnected and compassionate society. So this is a mind map of our presentation. I thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Fatma. Thanks again to the speakers for their valuable shares and participations. Now we'll be concluding the panel with a 10 minutes discussion. We'll open the floor for the audience. We'll proceed by taking from 2 to 4 questions from the audience or remarks, and then the speakers will briefly interact with your remarks and questions. Yes. Yes, okay, so it will be number 1, 2. Okay. We'll start by 4 questions and then check time. If we are running behind, so we'll stop by 4 questions. So could you please introduce yourself first?
Yeah.
My question is, integrated learning has temptation to keep up and university individual.
You repeat just the last, just the question.
How can university ensure equal opportunities?
Equality and honesty.
Number 2.
Like,